How does you're backed by arguably one of the greatest of all time, right?
What are we rating ourselves on? What are we rating on?
Okay,
Well, we want to know in the least amount of fights. You know, I didn't have to have 70 fights, or 150 fights, 300 fights. Did I not beat the most world champions?
yes, you did.
Okay. And in the least amount of fights,
Yes, you did.
who got the highest gate?
Floyd Mayweather.
Who made the most money?
You did.
Who was the most accurate fighter of all time?
You were
So it's basically saying that,
the greatest of all time.
okay.
All right.
Tedeschi, I'd stop Flo easier than I stop Spence. But Crawford said, everyone went nuts, even Floyd Mayweather.
Who do you think wins in a fight, you or Prime Floyd?
Me.
No questions?
Why would you think that I would say Floyd? You know, that's one of my favorite fighters. But yeah, nah.
Floyd's response went viral rapidly on social media. As usual, it's smooth, plain, and frigid. According to insiders, Floyd is really angry, despite his polished statements and poker demeanor. For the first time in years, someone declared they could beat him rather than simply suggesting they were superior to him. Not only beat him, stop him. In other words, Floyd could hear Crawford fairly clearly, and his response. It wasn't only about pride, it was about pride, heritage, and the terrifying possibility that the game he once ruled would now belong to someone else. Let us break it down. The footage that began it all was just played on a popular fighting podcast 2 nights ago. Not long after his epic victory against Canelo Alvarez, Terence Crawford was asked one of those hypothetical questions that fighters avoid. The interviewer inquired, "How would that fight go if you and Floyd were both at your best?" Crawford leaned back, smiled, and said something that sparked controversy on boxing Twitter. "It was far easier for me to stop Floyd than for Spence. He's excellent, but I'm better." That single sentence went off the rails. In a matter of minutes, hashtags like hashtag Crawford vs Floyd and hashtag GOAT debate became viral worldwide.
Yo, yeah, so if he was pound for pound, Floyd was pound for pound. You or Floyd, who would have done that? Who would have won that?
Me.
Oh, shit, okay, I'm just asking.
Man.
Because Floyd was pound for pound before.
That would have been a hard fucking fight, though.
Man, me versus anybody. I'm gonna always say me.
Okay.
Come on now.
But Crawford's confidence wasn't the only thing that caused a stir. It was the way it sounded so authentic. Crawford is not insane if you look at his record and how he defeated Errol Spence and stopped Canelo Alvarez. He has things planned out. Floyd understands this.
You could take a guy like Canelo, this guy could do, he can pick and choose who he want to fight. And I'm gonna tell y'all the truth about Canelo. Easy, man. Cakewalk. Easy. Y'all sitting up here, y'all praising this dude. This dude was nothing. I was almost 40 years old when I cooked this dude. Easy. Y'all always disrespecting our fighters.
Live, only on DAZN, June 28th. Jake Paul versus Chavez Jr. Buy now at DAZN.com/boxing.
Okay, here's the deal. Floyd Mayweather's entire job after retirement was to try and steer the conversation. Every show, interview, and news piece is designed to keep the focus on him. However, by 2025, it will become less restrictive. When Floyd fights Mike Tyson, it is primarily for fun. But Crawford is making genuine history.
Do you think's better out of those two, Crawford or Mayweather?
I think Crawford is better, bigger. Like he's actually he moved in weight class, and I would say Crawford is a better fight all around fighter. Mayweather's really good too, though. You can't knock him as well. He's very talented. It would have been a tough fight, but I think Crawford would have the edge over Mayweather because of the long arms and because he's bigger. You know what I'm saying? And he would have kept him at bay. It would have been hard for Mayweather to counter, maybe. But Mayweather's definitely a technician. I mean, like Crawford said, Mayweather has his era, and Crawford, this is his era.
He's not searching for large money. He wants to be great. Floyd is particularly furious about this.
And I'm gonna get a lot of too, but honestly, there could be the way where you put Crawford over Mayweather. Because of going up, you didn't see Mayweather go up from 147 to 168. That's crazy, bro. And honestly, I thought Crawford was gonna have more of a hard time because he had a hard time with Madronov. So imagine going up to it. I mean, that's crazy. I mean, but I don't want to take nothing away from Mayweather. Mayweather is the greatest of all time. But I think that was a really big risk that Crawford took, and then he ended up winning. You know what I mean? So you have to give credit to that too. I mean, that's a big risk. That'd be like me going up and fighting Usyk right now, heavyweight.
I know that's been kind of hinted.
I'm not thinking of that right now. I'm not thinking of that right now. No, but that's kind of like how that'd be. You know what I mean? So you have to, bro. That's a lot of. He has a lot of balls to do that. And not only to go do that to show the world that he's really like that.
For years, Floyd's detractors claimed that his career was all about timing, waiting out opponents, selecting the best fights, and making as much money as possible while avoiding risk. Most of the time, they were correct. He was really skilled at business. However, that ability came with a catch. At the same time, Terence Crawford is doing the complete opposite. He is up against formidable opponents in their peak. His weight class is moving up. Floyd has never been so courageous. He is now attacking Floyd for a lack of ethics rather than power.
Terence Crawford is the best fighter on the planet. Pound for pound, he's that dude. In this 4-belt era, he is now the undisputed world champion 3 times over. 140 pounds, 147, now 168 pounds, claiming all the belts. You don't see people doing that very often. Going up against a guy who was perceived as being bigger and stronger, Crawford was strong. Crawford was strong enough to fend him off, strong enough to make him respect his own power. He used his jab, he used his distance. He had poise in the ring, he wasn't rattled. He backed up and moved when necessary and kept us different. He exchanged enough to gain respect when necessary. It was a brilliant, brilliant, masterful fight on Terence Crawford's part.
Now, however, things become much more fascinating. According to those who work closely with Mayweather's marketing, Floyd feels insulted. Not because of what they said, but because of who spoke it. Don't forget, Floyd discovered Gervonta Davis. He schooled him, shaped him, and based his company on loyalty. Crawford had never needed Floyd. He never learned from him, signed up with him, or accepted his method. He rose to prominence on his own, something few athletes had ever accomplished.
I beat this guy. It's an excuse. I beat this guy. You know, he's too young or whatever. So I'm never really going to get my full respect until afterwards. Yes, you know, it's a lot of people that's changing their narrative. Like, man, y'all watching something great right now, and we not appreciating it. And it's sad to say that we waking up at the tail end of his career. You know, we really didn't realize it until now when he's like doing extraordinary stuff, like going up 2 weight classes to fight the best fighter in that division, the #1 guy that's the face of boxing, you know. And the way that I handled that, people like, oh man, something had to be wrong. Canelo had to be washed, or Canelo just wasn't in it. I see people saying, oh, Turkey paid for Canelo to lose, you know. So I just think, you know, when you that much better than the competition, you know, people not going to give you credit until they sit down and look at it and just be like, man, that dude was good.
Floyd feels threatened simply because he is independent. A marketer informed us that Floyd sees himself in but without the power. Crawford is doing the same thing Floyd did, but he is not entering politics. And that's the problem. Floyd dislikes being compared to his replacement. He enjoys being the one they cannot have children with.
At the end of the day, I'll let you know, there's no fighter that will ever be better than me. There's no fighter that wasn't better than me before me or after me or when I'm long gone. I'm the best.
Crawford, however, is not attempting to emulate him. He's changing the rules of the game.
Where does he rank now, all time? Ending this interview.
#1, and the only one that he got at top is Floyd. You know what I'm saying? Terence Crawford is this generation guy. You know what I'm saying? Accomplishing all the goals that he accomplished.
Matched up? How do they match up, Floyd and Terence?
Hey, I'm like this, man. It's going to be great because Floyd, he's about his work. He put in work. We've been watching it for decades. You know what I'm saying? Him coming out of retirement to do this fight, that's a win for the whole world boxing. Every generation from Floyd's generation to this generation to get to see it come. That's just like we never get to see Michael Jordan play, right? But we remember when he used to play. Come on. So
let's look at what makes this topic so contentious. Floyd Mayweather was, at the time, the toughest fighter in history. He seldom lost rounds, much alone bouts. His defensive abilities made punchers appear like amateurs. Crawford, on the other hand, is the complete opposite. He creates confusion, and then orders. He doesn't need to point you out. He needs to damage you.
In the world of comparisons that we live in right now, if you can, compare and contrast the fight between yourself and Floyd Mayweather Jr. and tonight's bout with Terence "Bud" Crawford, if you can.
No, I think Crawford is way better than Floyd Mayweather.
Fans expected a war when he met Errol Spence. Instead, they learned how to express their emotions in a healthy way. Crawford disassembled him piece by piece, dropped him 3 times, and then executed him like a surgeon.
I didn't expect that the fight will be like that, but I thought it will finish 12 rounds. But Crawford he did a good job.
Is Crawford time for time number one? Time for time number one?
I think so. Pretty much. I don't think.
Did you feel like they need a rematch, Manny, after what you saw tonight?
I don't know. I don't know if there's a rematch.
That's all we gotta go.
It's kind of a one-sided fight.
Does this fight make Terence Crawford an all-time great in your eyes?
Well, he's still in his career, so he's prime in his career. So we'll see. We'll see the journey of his life.
Floyd has never put on such a performance against formidable opponents. Floyd taught Canelo a lot, but he was only 2 or 3 years old and not at his peak. Crawford defeated higher-weight contender Pete Canelo. That is why so many modern boxing commentators express it aloud. Clay Hearns might be better than Floyd Mayweather ever was. Legends have to choose a side. Roy Jones Jr. observed, if you compare skill to skill, Floyd was smoother. Crawford, however, is doing something unprecedented in terms of complete control.
Because when you mention great fighters, right, 90% of your great fighters are black. The ones from the past. Now, with the Eastern Bloc coming on like they always, gonna be some great ones coming on now. Even with Lil Tony, as you see, these guys are gonna be great. They're gonna start eclipsing and coming up there too. But right now, if you had to name 5 of the best fighters of all time, 4 of them gonna be black. You understand me? Who did he beat that was black in his prime, that was in their prime, that was on his level? Nobody.
Max Kellerman did an excellent job of breaking things down. Floyd fought to be in control. Crawford battles for honor. That's what makes it unique.
It's wild, because like if you look at Floyd's resume, it's much deeper than Crawford's. And Floyd was faster and he had a better defense and all that stuff. But Floyd picked and chose when he fought guys, especially once he left lightweight. He wiped out the junior lights, bring him. Lightweight, he jumps up to Jose Luis Castillo first thing. A lot of people think he lost the first fight, then I didn't, but then he won the rematch. But once he left lightweight, he was careful about when he fought guys. So even though his resume is deeper with names, people remember, yeah, but he didn't want it with certain dudes at certain times. Crawford, we all witnessed, even though the resume is thin in certain ways, he wanted it with everyone the whole time.
Oh, yes.
That makes a difference to people.
Crawford did amazing, he a legend, man. 3-time undisputed, you gotta take his hat up to him. He went up 2 weight classes and dominated a legend, so my hat goes off to him and he's all respect.
Do you think Canelo is the same guy that he was before he didn't completely fallen off?
Canelo's Canelo, you know what I mean? Canelo's a legend, bro. You gotta, at the end of the day, whatever happened that fight, that don't diminish his career, his image. You feel me? I think right now, he's at that time where he took an L, but he ain't took an L, you know what I'm saying? He got paid and he a legend at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? So if he want to walk over in the sunset right now, his name, his last name is in the cement, you know what I'm saying? As one of the greatest Mexican fighters in the world.
I know it sounds a little bit crazy, but Crawford does have all the titles. You're a really big name. He's kind of in your way right now a little bit. And is that a fight where you're just like, yeah, if he him, get it on for sure?
Not for sure. Definitely, you know what I'm saying? We don't duck no smoke. But right now, I'm focused on my comeback fight, you know what I'm saying? I gotta put my head down, whatever happened in my last fight is through, but that ain't dim my light at all, you know what I'm saying? I'm still a superstar, I'm still a star, I'm still the king of New York, man, I'm fly, I look good, I fight good, man, so, I'm excited.
Floyd, on the other hand, has been purely protective. He keeps boasting about his record. 50-0, the money, the pay-per-view figures, and his business. However, Crawford does not appear to be concerned by the stats. He intends to leave a good name. That is why this feels like a passing of the torch, even though Floyd does not want to give it up. Let's be honest, Mayweather's timing was very great. Crawford's time is a period of growth. Floyd never lost because he refused to take unnecessary risks. Crawford may lose one day, but only because he risked everything.
And I beat him, but we both been out there, they say he's over the hill. But then when Pacquiao fights him, they say, oh, this is the greatest thing we ever seen. So then when I fight Hatton, they say I'm too big for Hatton, but then they say,
no, nobody said that. You got full credit for both of those wins, Floyd. That's why you became a superstar.
No, I did not.
Yes,
no,
you
I
did.
did not. No,
sure
I did not.
You did. From
are
me,
you gonna
I
let
gave
me
you full
speak my
credit.
piece?
If you're talking to me now, I gave you full credit for that.
Am I gonna speak my piece or not? Am I gonna speak my piece or not?
Go ahead.
Okay, because you want to interview me. I ain't interviewing you. You want to talk to me. I don't worry about talking.
Floyd,
you want to talk to me.
Go ahead. I'm waiting on you.
So then when I fight Hatton, they said, oh, Mayweather is too big for Hatton. But then Marquez and Pacquiao can fight, it's no problem. But now, but I'm too big for Marquez. I'm too big for Marquez, but I'm not too big for Pacquiao. Which one is it?
Well,
which one is it?
Which one is it?
Which one is it?
It's that Pacquiao was 130 pounds and he keeps moving out and whacking guys who are much bigger. He gets full credit.
That is what distinguishes icons from celebrities. Floyd understands this to be true. This is why he's suddenly reappearing in conversations and discussing these new individuals who are vying for attention. That is why he keeps bragging about how wealthy and knowledgeable he is in business. Floyd dislikes the direction the discourse about excellence is taking. You cannot battle time or the future. What will happen next? People have already speculated that Floyd may respond with his own in-person conversation. Multiple people close to him believe he intends to clear the air. This is typically accomplished by reminding everyone of his earnings and undefeated record. But that won't stop the Crawford wave. Fans have already started rewriting the story. So what Floyd says now is irrelevant. According to these sources, Crawford no longer watches Mayweather. He's taking his place. People used to believe that Floyd's public smile represented modern combat. Crawford looks fierce now that he has championship gold on his face. The oddest thing is that Floyd unintentionally influenced the outcome. By establishing the threshold for so long, he provided Crawford a strategy for breaking it down. Even yet, respect must be offered. Floyd Mayweather revolutionized fighting for the better. He developed a massive corporation. He earned more money than any other fighter in history. He defeated all of the prominent stars at the time. But Terence Crawford is redefining what it means to be great. He's lost before. Nobody questions him. 3 times over. He's not trying to get famous. He is going to battle forever. That being said, Floyd may be correct when he claims there are tiers to this. However, it's possible that the sums have altered, because what was once considered the pinnacle of excellence is now Crawford's floor.
We've had a lot of comparisons between Terence Crawford and Floyd Mayweather. We've even had the conversation to go as far as who will win in the fight between Terence and Floyd. And I truly don't know the answer.
Yeah, I do.
You do?
Yes.
Yeah. Who will win that fight?
Floyd.
Floyd will win that
Yes,
fight.
sir. I love you, Terence.
Always figures it out.
Yeah, he's a chess master. Yeah, his IQ and that
The funny
success
thing
is
about
crazy.
it is Terence has been the only other guy that people can say he always figures it out. You know?
That's true. But you gotta
Can't
have
say
an
that
OG
about
somewhere.
anybody
though.
else. Yeah.
There's an OG somewhere. Somebody gotta pioneer
They
it, right?
out-figure
Yeah,
out.
you gotta. There's an
yeah.
OG you can't out-figure out somewhere,
yeah,
and I just believe Floyd is that OG you can't out-figure out.
The entire globe is now looking. Crawford says he still has a few fights left before retiring. There is a potential that Yaron boots Anis, Canelo, or perhaps a switch to 160 pounds for another title shot will occur.
As his trainer, do you feel like you should just sell off into the sunset after this monumental
Well,
win?
you know what? They made it look so easy. You know what I'm saying? Got 2-3 more in him. You know what I'm saying? Training camp will try harder. You know what I'm saying?
You think a move to 160 would make sense?
I mean, if you want to do it, you know, it'd be a challenge. If you want to challenge yourself, yeah, I don't mind.
From now on, everything he does strengthens his case. Don't misunderstand. This is more than simply a rout. It is a transition of power. The former king and the current king. One maintained his reputation, while the other built it via chaos. One person fought to become wealthy in old age. people recall the previous fights for retirement.
Saw you before the fight, the Crawford-Canelo fight, and you had a Cavs hat on. This time you've got a GOAT hat on. Is that how you're feeling? I know it says Muhammad Ali, but is that how you're feeling about Bud's performance, about his whole career?
Yeah, I'm definitely feeling that way, man. GOAT, greatest of all time, man. You gotta give it to him. You gotta give it to him. You gotta give it to his coaches, not just me, Saul Red, Bernie, Chet, nutritionists. You know, everybody played a part.
Canelo said he's way better than Mayweather. What do you think to that?
Who, Terence?
Yeah.
Oh, of course. Of course he is.
Finally, this could be the cause of Floyd's death, that the only person capable of defeating him in a fantasy fight is not required to demonstrate such ability. He is already. So, fight enthusiasts, what are your thoughts? Was Floyd's response fair, or did Crawford simply state the truth and claim that the throne had been passed? Leave your opinions in the comments section below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more authentic conversation. The next video will feature you.